Hey yo, what is going on you guys? Alejandro here and welcome back to the episode of Magayon. Welcome to part 2 of the transit hub build where I build a transportation hub for all the various modes of transportation of the city, where we will have tram lines, busways, bike lanes, and in this episode, trains. I've already laid out the layout of everything in the previous episode, so if you guys haven't checked that out, part 1 is linked down below, and in this episode we are going to be building the central station. Now we already have a station on the other side of the city, but that is the older station that functions to serve the eastern side of the city, but this station will serve the western side of the city, and it's going to be a lot more newer and a lot more centrally located in the east. So yeah, let's get started with the video. So I'm starting off by removing the buildings that I placed. There's going to be a lot of changes that you'll see. I used to use that building right there, but then I was like, why don't I change this into what I'm going to be using for the metro, which is this custom station network from the Japanese railway network. And these actually are stations, but they are networks, so you need to have like platforms for people to be able to access it, and you have to connect it with roads. But I wasn't able to connect it properly. There are actually no trains from the outside that is entering the city for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm just putting this here for aesthetic, and nobody really is going into the city using trains. I think there are some issues with mods, but yeah, in the future when I fix this, it'll all look nice. But this will also be serving lines that will connect to outskirts town that is outside of the Metro Magayon. So yeah, I'm also going to be actually off camera. I placed a station so that I can test if this actually works, like a station that would spawn similar to how I tested out the metro in the last episode. I did that here as well. I'm not sure if this is an accurate way of building trains. We don't really have many trains in the Philippines, so this is just me eyeballing it and looking at pictures on Google Maps on how train stations look like, because it's a multi-platform station. If it's just a basic station with one track, it would be easy, but this one has 4. It's overkill for Magayon because we don't really need that many stations. But yeah, at least it looks nice, you know. It's purely for aesthetic, but it also functions. People are walking to here, and later on you'll see how I fix the aesthetics of this building. We're gonna make it into a cohesive design. I'm just cleaning up everything. So that's the station. That's basically it. There's nothing fancy or whatever. I just connected it with pathways, as you can see there. And now I'm building the surrounding area of the station. I'm kind of thinking that it'll look like very European, but modern European. It's kind of like London. It feels like London when you're here. Later you'll see the London vibes that this exudes. I'm just using this vanilla asset here from the Modern City Center DLC, which is, you know, from Europe once again. So it fits in perfectly with the aesthetic that I'm building here. It's like the station is not only just a station, it's also commercial space, office space, retail space, all in one. Now those stations that I'm telling you don't actually connect to intercity networks. It's just a station. If you have a line, trains coming from outside won't actually enter. So I changed that to this station. It's actually a building station, and I use procedural objects to then just, you know, copy the station over the roof of the station to the other side so that it would be clean. You know, there's also going to be the roof of the station. I was thinking of making it a green roof, but I think it would be overkill. I wanted to have a glass roof because I want to see the trains passing by, but I don't think in a tropical situation that is really beneficial because it's quite hot. So hit me up in the comments if I should keep the glass skylight roof on top, or should I place over it, you know, grass roof and make it something like the San Francisco Transit Bay, if you know what I mean. where it's like different modes of transport. It's a building, and then on top of it, there's a park connected by buildings. Kind of like what I was trying to do here, but we'll see. We'll see. A lot of changes. Hit me up in the comments, conversations, stir up some ideas. And speaking of ideas, I am using procedural objects to detail the base of the station, because underneath it, it's just plain old ugly. And I also want to give it a bit of a special treatment, because this is a central station, and this is central, so it's quite important. Some places in the city are more detailed than the others, some are less, and this is one of the more detailed, but not that detailed. You know what I mean? We have to save FPS. And I'm doing this by procedurally objecting, if that's a word, this asset by Reaper. And I am just getting the base of it. There are 2 floors. Actually, it's 4, but you know what I mean? It's like 2 floors with this pillar on the outside. And it's amazing because it has a lot of texture. It's very usable. It's very modular actually. So I'm just using it here on the station to improve. I'm thinking that this used to be an old station and then it was upgraded, and this is now the upgraded section of it. The facade is very modern, very clean, very nice. And this just cleans up the station a bit. Like, it's not just a way for people to get into the city. It's a place where people would actually go to stay in the city. It's not just a one-stop shop. You can do a lot of things. I mean, it's a one-stop shop actually, where you can do a lot of things aside from entering the city. But yeah, that is the sunken part of the station. I'm also placing down buildings on this side because this is prime real estate, you guys. So tall buildings will be built here, and the skyline of the city, as I'll show you later on, it's perfectly framed. The way the buildings here are placed, it creates a very beautiful skyline in this part of the city. Also changing in the buildings, changing some to procedural objects so that I would get the face that I want. And this building right here is also a European building. It's from the workshop. Asset list link down below, and I'm just using it to connect all the buildings together, and so that people in the station would have something other than the blank wall to look at. It actually has purpose. And yeah, those are the buildings on the side of the station. Now the bottom, I've already placed buildings at the bottom, like the base building, but I want to make it a bit more aesthetic. I wanted to make a little bit more clean, and so I'm using these pillars and turning them into PO, and then I am using them to make these arches that are underneath the station. Because if you look on top, you just see the rail tracks, the foundation of it, but I wanted to make a little bit more clean because it's a central station. It has to be, when you enter the city, you should experience beauty. You know what I mean? Airiness. And since this is dark, I'm also using white ones so that it would maximize the amount of light inside, even though it's dark. And the lighting, of course, will be white as well. Not white, quite white. It's like warm white. Yes, it's a beautiful shade. It's a beautiful temperature of light. It's not the bluish, like very sad type of white light. It's like sunrise. But yeah, that is the base. And the elevated section, I will also be using this similar technique, and I'm going to be connecting these up, extending it a little bit more because the distances between the arches are a bit larger. So I'm just cleaning that all up, and I'll be also placing a roof on top of it. So you can see each pillar is located to where the pillar of the actual building is, so that it would be clean. As you can see there, it's very nice. I really am very much thinking on adding a green roof on top of it, but I will be keeping some of the glass so that some light will enter, because I'm not quite sure. Yes, here we have a lot of glass, more and more glass, you can see, just to clean it all up. I think it works fine. I think it's nice. Once again, hit me up in the comments because I'm a very indecisive person, so that would really help me up quite a lot with the decision-making process. And I also am going to be using glass to encase the entire station, because I was thinking, since this is a tropical place, you really wouldn't want that much air. I'm thinking that this would be an air-conditioned station for some reason, because this connecting the different parts of the country instead of just the different parts of the city, because the metro already does that. So yeah, also cleaning it up. Oh my god, I can't speak. I'm also cleaning it up by placing a pathway on top. That it would be the roof system, and also so that people could walk on top of it, I think, and so that people could access the elevated station itself. I'm using elevators instead of stairs because I'm too lazy to make custom stairs. And to clean it all up, I'm placing down these wall segments in places that need covering, and since there's like terrain differences here and there, I'm using a terraform network and just placing it there so that it'd be flat. As you can see, very nice, connecting the elevators to the elevated segment so that people will be able to access it if the trains do arrive into the city in the future. But yeah, for the sake of cinematics, I'll be cheating my way through it by placing a line, kunyari lang. But here, to further make the space more airy, vibrant, and bright, I'm placing white decals. Like this is, I think this is marble. I'm not sure, but basically I'm placing that down on the bottom so that it would be bright. And yeah, to also make the space bright, I have said that I am encasing the building in glass so that light would enter the station to reduce energy. But really, once again, I'm thinking on, should I keep the glass roof, but the glass walls and everything here will be kept. The glass roof is the dilemma that I'm facing. But yeah, that is the station. I'll be encasing it a little bit more later on, but I'm just going to be adding in this detail right here, which is very important to the station. I am adding in a sign, like a text in front of the station. There used to be a sign here in the previous episode, as you may have seen, that I am Magayon, similar to I Amsterdam in Amsterdam Central Station. But I think it would make a lot more sense if I just place Magayon Central Station here, because this is the Magayon Central Station. And I don't know why I decided to use PO, so it just doubled the time that it took me to make this sign. But yeah, it works. It's nice. The amazing thing about PO is that if you PO props, the render distance is much higher than if you were using props. So yeah, that's a win-win right there. And here I'm decalization. It's called the decalizationism. Yes, the decalizationism of the station. The frame rate here is quite choppy because the simulation is, if you can see that, it's at 3 times speed. So I'm just gonna be speeding up through this time lapse here because I don't want to really, stay within the crappy frame rate of this moment. So I'm just gonna explain what's happening here is that I used PO to turn the decals to reshape the decals so that it would fit in this weird angle right here. Once again, to, make it look like this is an actual station, I am once again using procedural objects. I love procedural objects, if you can tell, and I'm just a very basic user of it. I'm just moving buildings here and there, but I'm using it to make this sign right here on the side entrances of the station. There are 4 side entrances to the station. I'll be showing you guys where they are on the live play because you really can't see it here in the time lapse. And I'm just using this PO to add a text that says, once again, Magayon Central Station. I was thinking on making it red, similar to the London one, but I think I just kept it blue because this is what we all actually have here in the Philippines. In the MRT, LRT, Juvenes, it's actually blue. As you can see, it's like a station. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing? I love it so much. Here I'm just placing 2 more. This is the 3rd side, as you can see, 1, 2, and this is 4th. Oh, the frame rate here is very bad, but yeah, later on the frame rate will be clearer. Once again, encasing, that's not even a word, encasing the building in glass. Now the frame rate is better because I turned the simulation to speed 1, and here I am encasing the building in glass, as you can see. Because this side, the trains, is where the trains enter, and I'm also adding in glass here on the side so that we would minimize the amount of air exiting the building. And here I'm placing down the light itself. As you can see, it is not white light, it's warm white. But inside the station, I'm gonna be making it a little less warmer because this is a little bit too orange for me. But yeah, we're now doing the landscaping and detailing, and this will be the end of this episode. Yes, this is the end of the time lapse. I'm just going to be adding in some plants here and there, or just making the space a bit more open, because in the previous episode it was too cramped when I went to first person, and I also want to keep it shady yet open at the same time. The shady in the sense of like the shade of the trees, not like the shady in the sense that it's scary. But yeah, I'm just going to be meeting you guys in the live play to show you guys the station in more detail. And welcome back to the live play. This is now Magayon Central Station all done. As you can see with the huge sign in front of the station that is written in front, like Magayon Central Station right there. And yeah, this is the final product, Monster. Here's the final product. We have the park, the plaza in front of it, the open space basically. I just made it more open as compared to the previous one in episode 1. This looks a lot more complete now. We have fences here, protected bike lane on the side, wide roads, and a dedicated bike lane here as well on the road. I changed it to to an orange shade, similar to the shade of this road right here that I'm using, and also to connect the entire bike system of the city. I still haven't detailed these intersections. Those are for later episodes. I've also built a park here on the side, as you can see. That's for a later episode, but in this episode we finished the station itself. Doesn't it look gorgeous? Doesn't it? It's amazing. I really like how the trees are like pointing up. It's not providing any shade, but that's okay. We already have a lot of shade on the sides, and people can just go to the park if they want to. This is the old station, so you can see the old facade, and it has been retrofitted with a new station up here. As you can see, we have 4 platforms and the glass roof here. I've also told you guys that we have 4 side stations. Let's first go on an overview before we go into first person to show you guys what the station looks like in more detail, because it's really amazing. So you can see trains are stopping at the station. We have 2 side entrances here at the front. It's connected through this road, and we have another side entrance here connected on this road. And here we have the highway going underneath the entire thing. It's actually sinking down. That's also going to be sinking down as well here in this avenue. I've actually built Second Highway, but that's not for today. So you see, just saw a sneak peek. It's amazing. I enjoy building highways. Even though the city is bike friendly, we still have to have a highway to make it a bit more realistic, because it is a little bit too optimistic if we have everything that we want, right? We can't get everything that we want. So you can see this is the station, the old and the new. Let's go to first person that you'd see it in more detail. Let's start here from the front. Architectural Digest yarn. Let's start here in the front to show you guys what it looks like from the plaza. From the park in front of it. Here's the fountain. We have 2 buildings here on the side. I really love how it has turned out. It has a much better location, right? The sign Magayon Central Station, it's above, instead of the I am Magayon at the bottom. It really doesn't make that much sense, and it really just tells you that this is the station. You really wouldn't go wrong. If you find yourself asking questions, they'll just point you at the station, and if you're lost, well, that's on you. We have a lot of signs saying that this is the central station, and it's at the center of this part of the city. So you can see we have fountains here on the side for the temperature, to cool down the air around it. Another way to cool down the surrounding area is by placing down trees, and that's why we have a lot of them here. We have large trees. I couldn't find the right one that is like we actually have here in the Philippines, so I just used the London plant tree. It's the closest one we have. It's the right size, it's the right proportions, and I love it. So you can see it's kind of like Tokyo. It's giving Tokyo vibes with the station. Also Amsterdam. It's actually Magayon, because Magayon is a mix and match of everything. We're just copying from various different places and turning something new from what already exists. This is the station. You enter through here, and we have this huge glass entrance thing. Here on the side, we have two side entrances. I just placed this down. So let's just imagine you can actually enter there. If you want to access a different line, you want to enter here as well. This is not that clean. You know, the detailing is not that clean, but at least it works. You know what I mean? Okay. Before we go inside, let's go to the sides of the station. Walking here on the side street, this is actually the left side of the building, as you can see, because the building is on the right, so this is the left side. We have residential and offices on the left, newer buildings. Here on the right, you can see the old station and the new station right there. This is actually just more of offices, but we revamped the station, and it actually now has commercial spaces in it, because you really wouldn't want to have just a barren wall. Like, imagine having this, you're walking beside a very long this, you really wouldn't want that. So this is amazing. We have a hedge separating the road from the pathway. That's very nice. And the roof of the second floor here, like this entranceway that is on the side, is also online to this, which is very, very nice. And the detail here is amazing. Let's just go underneath it. And the ceiling of it, it's very nice. You'll be seeing this building a bit more in future episodes, because I really am in love with this building. This is literally my aesthetic. Oh, frame rate. This is the station at the side. So you can see, oh, a train just entered the station. And it's amazing how the glass encasing of the main station itself, like where the trains like stop, you can see through Makati over there. Yes, and when we go inside, it's a much more amazing view. And yeah, you really can't miss when you are going to the station, because we have this amazing sign that I just made. I really love how it turned out. The blue is just beautifully, I know, with the sky, but it's a different shade of blue with the sky, which is quite nice. Let's continue on with our walk on the side row. The frame rate here is a lot lower, is a lot higher, because we have lower detail, and I haven't actually built anything here yet. So here we have offices. These are more of the offices, because we're getting a bit further from the like part of the station, but we still have this is going to be more residential at this side, so you can see the buildings there. And this is the secondary side entrance. I love how this building right here is just opening itself up to let you enter into the station right there, and it just goes up and then it goes back in. I'm just show you this building. It's quite an amazing building, actually. It's very modern, very cool, very nice. And this is the other side station. We're going to be going into this, and we're going to the other side. It's very nice. Let's go to the station. Once again, the glass, it's visible. Makati is right there on the other side. We have a lot of tall buildings here. So when you're looking up, when you go into the station and you look up, you see the buildings. Here's just a glimpse of how it looks from the inside. Imagine going out of the station and you need to go to work or something. You want to go to Burger King? We have restaurants on this side. This is more of the office district. On the other side is more residential. A car is flying into a parking lot. I need to fix that. Here is a very, very tall building, while the taller building is actually behind me. But you know what I mean. We have this curved building here. I really love this because we're beside the sunken highway. The highway goes down there, and that's Makati over there. Resorts World, Manila. To just add a bit more realism to the place. Logos add a lot of realism. A lot of tall buildings that are here, that are close. Once you're closer to the tracks, the taller side you have, as you can see, it's taller here. It goes down, and it goes down, it goes down. It's a gradual skyline. And yeah, I'm sorry for the frame rate on this side, because we're actually looking at the city and there is so many things happening there. But yeah, imagine driving through this place or walking through. We have restaurants here on the left, the station on the right, a Tesla, because the cars in the city are mostly electric. And we have another office building here, very big buildings. We have luxury shops on the side for some reason. It's quite nice, actually. It's quite nice. But it doesn't make sense for Louis Vuitton to be beside Burger King. That's just that. We have KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's. You really can't go without McDonald's. And we have a 7-Eleven here on the corner. That is Makati over there, actually. It's very nice. It's very visible from this one because it just goes straight through. And if I pan towards the other side, frame rate, please be good to me. Okay, this is the other side entrance of the station. And once again, you can see through the glass. Actually, 3 to it. I mean, if you're inside, which is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going inside the station where the trains stop. Okay, whoops. Here we are. We're finally inside the station. Here, oh, there's a train coming in. It's actually a bullet train, and that's very nice. Look at that. Nobody's using this because it's just a dummy train asset, because you have a station out there in the outside of the city that is testing out if this functions or not, and it does, which is nice. But the thing is, there are no trains coming from outside of the city, like, you know, intercity trains that take people from outside the city into the city. Doesn't actually work. But yeah, this is the glass roof though. Entering the station, you look up, you see the tall buildings. You're very much welcomed into the city. It's a very modern entrance into the city. A city that is old and new. It's blending. It's kind of like Japan. It's very nice. It's giving Japan vibes when you enter. And oh, by the way, look at the pillars that I placed down. The arches. They're a lot wider here at the top because it's higher and it has more space. And it's just amazing. Look at that. Here we also have the arches. I like the architecture-ness of this. I love it, I love it, I love it. And that is the top segment, the upper segment. The way you enter or you get up this segment is through elevators or stairs from inside of the buildings. I didn't want to just build. I was too lazy, so I decided to just build 2 of them here on front, if they ever work. And here we have an elevator. It actually functions. It's so nice. It's animated. But I think the better side to show is here because this is where the light is. There we go. This is the concourse, the grand concourse, if that's right. Basically, this is where you do everything you need to do. This is where you get to the upper deck and the lower deck. And as you can see, these arches just form an amazing canopy, I guess, an amazing frame to this place. It really pulls the eye towards the end there, and the end there is just barren. I haven't placed anything significant there yet, but maybe that's where you enter to get to the elevated metro station, which is going to be built on top of this. It's gonna be here, so you can either go walk on top of the station to get to the elevated station. Would be placed right here on top of the highway. I've actually, if you watch the previous episode, you'd see a preview of where it would be. So it'll be here, and it'll be connected with the other parts of the city as well. The highway is very beautiful, as you can see, but that is for the next episode. This is the entire station itself. It has amazing views of the city. I think people would have access to the roof through this, but it would be very limited because this is an amazing place to be. Like, the views on this top deck are amazing. If you go a little bit here, you can see Makati skyline over there. You'd see the arc there. That's the park, a preview of the park. It's a linear park that is facing directly at the capital. If you didn't know, this transit hub is located in front of the capital or at the avenue. What else can you see? It's just an amazing view. You know what I mean? It's an amazing view to be here. As you can see, the skyline is opening up. You have to be very mindful of the placement of the buildings here because that is very important. Here's the avenue that is connecting everything up. We have the tram line here, and that is Makati once again over there. Let me just zoom in because it's amazing. Look at that. Makati is just right over there, and when you're at the ground, you really don't know that it's there unless you're high up in the sky. It's very nice. And yeah, that is the station itself. It's a very gorgeous station. The buildings on the side also have a defining aesthetic to it. So it's more of these New York Canadian types. Okay, here's an example of the building types. Yes, something like this. You have the squares and the lines, something like that, where there are setbacks. The buildings, they step, terrace, something like that. That's the aesthetic of the residential spaces in this area. And this is the station. We're going to be building surrounding areas to the station in a later episode. And I do hope you like what we ended up with in this episode. And if you guys want to check out more, here's a little preview. This is the park that I built in front of the station with the New York Washington Arch. I think that's a Washington Arch, but I still have no name for this park. But it's giving BGC vibes already, like the BGC, the High Street, Manufacture Global High Street, I think. It's giving that vibe here. So I think this will be the BGC we have, but it's not completely. We're just taking inspiration from it. But yeah, as you can see, the buildings, these are more commercial spaces. This is an outdoor space, green space, palm trees on the side, beautiful lamps. And if you guys want to check out how I built this, consider subscribing and click that bell notification to be notified whenever I upload a brand new episode. Don't forget to click like, comment down below what you want to see next, and if you guys want to show your support to the channel and incentivize me making more of these episodes, consider becoming a patron on patreon.com/Calejandro. Get exclusive content, early access, and so much more. And yeah, this is all that I have for you guys today. This is Calejandro signing off. Bye!